Have you ever wondered where the real human bodies used for medical education and research, especially in America's largest universities and research centers, actually come from? Who donates these bodies? Is it families, trying to avoid the heavy cost of funerals? Is it compassion, the hope of saving another life? Or simply the belief in serving science and research? Do universities receive these bodies for free? Or is there something hidden behind the scenes, a network of secret transactions? Are there laws in the United States that truly regulate this trade? And could it be that America is quietly exporting human bodies and organs to the rest of the world? Those who collect the bodies, do they act with pure intentions, or is there another motive? Profit, secrecy, and sometimes even desecration? What really happens to the body once the organs are removed? Are legal requirements always honored? Or is this an industry hidden in the shadows, a system few dare to question? In this documentary, USMag will search for answers. Stay with us. This is USMag. The body trade. How companies in the United States turn the dead into profit. In Texas, a man named Harold Dillard was known in his community as Mr. Fix-It. At 56 years old, his life took a tragic turn. In late 2009, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Within weeks, his condition worsened. He entered hospice care, a system meant to provide dignity and comfort in life's final stage. During his last days, representatives from a company called BioCare came to visit. Their business? Acquiring bodies for medical training. They asked Harold if he would consider donating his remains to help test surgical procedures for knee replacements. They promised any part of his body not used would be cremated, and his ashes would be returned to his family, free of charge. His daughter Farah remembers how his eyes lit up at the idea. To him, it felt like one final gift, a way to ease the burden on his family, a last selfless act. The day before Christmas, Harold Dillard passed away. His body was collected by BioCare immediately, but months later came the call. A call that shattered everything. Police had found her father's severed head. Investigators discovered over 100 body parts from at least 45 different people. Inside the company's warehouse, the remains had been crudely cut apart, some with chainsaws. Farah was devastated. What she thought was a respectful donation was instead, in her words, desecration. At night, she said, I would see giant tubs filled with body parts. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't escape it. Through lawyers, BioCare denied mistreating remains. Today, the company no longer exists. Its former owners, unreachable. But for Farah, this was her first glimpse into a hidden industry, an industry often called the world of body brokers, private companies that acquire corpses, dismember them, and sell the parts, most often to medical schools, research labs, and biotech firms. Critics describe the trade as a modern form of grave robbery. Supporters argue the opposite, that medical science needs these donations and private companies simply fill the gap when universities cannot. Harold's story, unknown to him at the time, became part of a larger, deeply emotional debate. A debate about how we advance medicine and about the dignity owed to every human being, even in death. The trade in human bodies is not new. Since the 19th century, people with a love of science have offered their remains for education, helping train future doctors. At the University of California, for example, Brandy Schmidt oversees one of the largest donation programs in the nation. Last year alone, they received more than 1,600 full-body donations. Over 50,000 people are currently registered. For many, it is seen as an act of service to humanity. For others, it eases the crushing financial costs of funerals and burials. And unlike private firms, universities do not profit. Strict oversight ensures bodies are treated with dignity. But across the U.S., a parallel industry has risen. For-profit companies who dissect human remains and sell them for commercial gain. Some call themselves non-transplant tissue banks. Critics call them body brokers. A 2017 investigation revealed at least 25 companies involved. One firm earned over $12 million in just 3 years. Writer and journalist Jenny Kleeman uncovered just how far this trade reaches. In her book, The Price of Life, she explains how America's loose laws allowed the industry to flourish. In the UK and Europe, strict bans prevent any profit from human remains. But in the United States, the Uniform Anatomical Gift Act leaves a loophole. It forbids selling tissue outright, yet allows companies to charge reasonable fees for handling and processing. That loophole turned America into a global supplier of cadavers. Kleeman found that one major U.S. company exported human remains to over 50 countries. From 2011 to 2015 alone, American firms obtained at least 50,000 bodies and processed nearly 180,000 body parts for shipment worldwide. Journalist Brian Grow uncovered another layer, the link between brokers and funeral homes. Some funeral homes quietly introduced grieving families to body brokers in exchange for referral fees as high as $1,000. And once again, families often discovered too late there was no legal path to justice. Farah Fasold, Harold's daughter, had hoped for criminal charges, but prosecutors dropped the case. They could not prove intent to deceive. She was left with her father's ashes. Sent in a Ziploc bag, ashes she never truly believed belonged to him. Another family faced an even crueler shock. In Texas, a man named Tim Leggett discovered his brother Dale's name on a public list of unclaimed bodies. Dale had passed away only a year earlier. Without consent, his body had been given to a private medical company and used to train anesthesiologists. Tim was outraged. His brother had always been private, withdrawn, quiet. He would never have wanted this. The university involved later issued a deep apology and dismissed the staff responsible. But for Tim, the damage was permanent. Still, experts caution, without cadaver donation, medicine cannot advance. Brandy Schmidt reminds us, many doctors perform their first dissection, their first surgical practice, on donated bodies. Procedures like hip replacements, robotic surgeries, even pacemakers were first tested on cadavers. Some in the industry argue they are unfairly vilified. Executives like Kevin Lubrera insist their companies follow ethical standards set by the American Association of Tissue Banks. But he warns, not all do, and it is those operating in the shadows that cast a stain across the entire trade. So, should profit from the dead be banned altogether? Experts agree. The U.S. needs stronger laws. Brandy Schmidt suggests America should follow Europe's example, outlawing profit while still allowing reasonable service fees. Others warn banning profit entirely could collapse the global supply of cadavers. If you want this trade to end, Jenny Kleeman argues, then more people must donate, out of compassion, not commerce. There may be another path, technology. Virtual reality is transforming medical training. In 2023, Case Western Reserve University replaced cadavers with immersive VR models. But experts agree the technology is not yet advanced enough to replace the human body. For now, real cadavers remain essential, and where there is demand, there will be profit. The story of Harold Dillard and countless others forces us to ask, what do we owe the living? What do we owe the dead? And where should we draw the line between science, compassion, and profit? The questions don't end here. Join the journey. Like, share, and subscribe to USMag, where we bring you stories the world needs to hear.